Connection. One of the most important things we can do in our classroom, and something that is really misunderstood. So we can probably all easily agree that the children in our care, in our home, or in our classroom can use more connection, right? Everybody needs more connection. But when you're in school, when you're in group care, it is very difficult to find the time when there's only one or two of you to give children face-to-face time that they really need. So connection rituals are the way to go. So we know that in survival or emotional state, the children are asking, am I safe? Am I loved? When we're in our survival or emotional state, we have very little to offer them. When we are in our executive state, we have access to all of the tools. I've got you. I'm here. We can find our breath. We can make them feel safe. We can help them figure this out, right? So our goal is to stay in our executive state so we can help the children find theirs. And we can't help them do that if we're not in the higher centers of our brain. A child can never be in a higher state than their caregiver, right? Think about that for a second. A child can never be in a higher state than the adult. Think about how easy it is to be affected by someone else's energy, right? An adult, maybe your coworker walks into the room, or your partner comes home and they are in a bad mood. You can feel it when they walk in, right? It's no different between us and the children that we care for. So if we want them to be calm and be able to listen and learn, then we also need to be calm. They can't be in a higher state than us. That brings us to connection. This is a great way to keep them in their executive state or bring them back to their executive state after conflict. So the recipe for connection has 4 ingredients. And for true connection to do exactly what we want it to do, it has to have all 4 of these ingredients. The first is eye contact. It doesn't have to be eye contact every single second of the time that we're together, but real eye contact. There needs to be touch. Presence, which means your phone is put away, we are not looking at the clock, and it needs to be silly, right? So eye contact, touch, presence in a playful situation. So go ahead and pause the video right here so that you can take a moment to read through why each of these 4 things is so important to a connecting ritual. But here's the real thing I want to sink into your brain right now, is that connection is equal to cooperation. You need the connection to get the cooperation. The motivation to behave comes from being in a relationship. The motivation to behave, to do what you want, to listen to you, comes from the relationship that they have with you. Something we just have to be honest about is just because a child is in our classroom and just because we care for them all day, every day, does not mean we have a relationship with them. Short moments of connection foster willingness and cooperation. It reduces impulse control issues. Raise your hand if you have a child or children in your care that have impulse control issues. Of course they do. We have impulse control issues well into our 20s before our brain is formed. Certainly with the younger children that you're caring for, they have impulse control issues. So connection reduces impulse control issues. It gives them and us joy juice. All those feel-good chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, the feel-good chemicals we get from being loved and being in love, we get those from these connection rituals, small moments, small bursts. A powerful moment of connection is like a small dose of Ritalin for a child. So if you want them to pay attention, if you want them to be willing to do what you want, we need connection. So when a moment of upset happens in our classroom and we rush in, threatening with color charts or taking away playtime or saying we're going to call their parent or even maybe the principal, we don't fix the problem. it just happens over and over again. We might get them to comply out of fear, but it still happens because we've never offered a solution to the problem. We've never taught them what they need to do next time. We've only punished, right? So in order for them to learn what we want, we need them to be in their executive state. So here's the quick. This is what we're going to do right now to start the I Love You ritual program and for them to do what we want them to do, to listen to what we want them to hear, right? So there's a fire, which is a moment of upset, a moment of conflict that you need to help. You're going to very quickly think about their brain state. Are they throwing toys and pushing chairs over? They're in their survival state. They're asking, am I safe? If they're screaming at you and saying names, then they're in their emotional state and they're just not feeling very loved right now. And you probably aren't either in that situation, but you're going to remind yourself that I am safe and I can just take a couple breaths. I'm the grown up. I can handle this. This kid needs my help and I'm going to give it to him. And then I'm going to go offer comfort. This is a tough one for people, man, because offering comfort to someone who has just done something that you don't want them to do is something that a lot of people struggle with. It feels like, why am I going to give them something nice, give them what they want when they've just done something, quote, bad? It's not going to reinforce the idea that if they're bad, quote, they'll get you to hug them. That's not the idea here. So you just need to just kind of take a deep breath and wade through this for a moment to understand this. So if you want them to learn what to do next time they're upset, you understand they need to hear you and they need to be in their executive state to hear you. They can't get to their executive state when we're threatening, ignoring, or getting yelling at them, right? Getting upset too. We need to comfort them first. When we comfort them, what we're saying is, even when you don't act the way I want you to act, I still love you and I'm still going to keep you safe. And once we've gotten them to calm, we're going to do an I love you ritual with them or a connection ritual with them. That's going to help them come to their higher brain state, right? So there's upset. We identify where they're at. We remind ourselves to stay calm. We've got this. I'm going to go offer comfort. Then I'm going to connect. So Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is my favorite connection ritual, especially for younger kids. You just hold your fingers up and wiggle them as you say, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and the child would do it too, so your fingers would be touching each other. What a wonderful child you are, as I point to the child with bright eyes, as I put my hands on the outsides of their eyes, and nice round cheeks, bringing my hands to their cheeks. A talented person from your head as I touch their head to their feet, and then I touch their feet. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I bring my fingers back up. What a wonderful child you are. As I'll point to them again, and then I'll offer them a hug. So that little moment that takes seconds, I am present. It is playful. There is touch. There is eye contact. I have brought them to their higher brain state, and now I'm going to move on. I still want them to pick up the blocks. So I'm going to say, that was really hard. We're going to go clean up the blocks now. You have a choice. You can clean up the blocks alone, or I can help you. Which is better for you? Let the child choose and then go back to clean up the blocks. Maybe this happened because the child wasn't done playing and they didn't want to transition to the gym with the class. So I'm going to get them through it. And then I'm going to say, that was really hard, but you did it. We're going to go meet our friends in the gym now. You have a choice. You can walk beside me or I can hold your hand, which is better for you. Or maybe they hurt someone. They got upset because a child touched their toy and then they hurt them. I'm going to calm, I'm going to connect, and then I'm going to say, that was really hard, but we did it. Next time, if you want a friend to play, say, do you want to play? And then practice with them. Say, let's practice. Guide them to put their hand on your shoulder and say your name, and then say, do you want to play? And then I might say, right now, I can go play with you. What center do you want to go to? So here's the slow. Here's the long game here. The child is upset. I comfort them, I connect, and I say, you wanted my attention. Next time, come to me and say, I need help. Well, they're not going to get it after. That's going to happen again, right? So I'm going to comfort them. I'm going to connect with them. I'm going to get them their higher brain state. I'm going to say, you wanted my attention. Next time, come to me and say, I need help. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I'm going to comfort. I'm going to connect. I'm going to tell them what I want them to do next time. And then eventually, I am going to keep giving them these rituals and this connection all day long. I'm going to keep them in their higher brain state. So when they want my attention, instead of acting out to get it, they're not going to need to. I've been connecting with them all day, and they're going to feel so good, and they're going to stay up in those prefrontal lobes, and they're just going to be able to walk over and say, I need your help, right? So we connect as much as we can so that they can stay in their higher brain state and ask us for help. Because connection equals cooperation. It breeds cooperation. The motivation to behave comes from being in a relationship and the quality of the relationship. We probably all think that we have a good relationship with the kids that are in our classroom, the kids that are in our care, our own children, right? And we do have relationships, obviously. But the quality of the relationship is what matters, right? Taking those moments for connection, realizing that sitting in a center with children while they're playing is not connection, that sitting beside our child as they're playing a video game or playing a video game with them is not connection, or talking to them while we're driving in the car is not connection. Those are all good things to do, but it's not true connection. That's not what brings cooperation and willingness. It's not just for during upset. It's not just for after upset. So this is the circle we want to start. We connect with them, keep them in their executive state so they're willing to do what we want. We connect more to keep them in their executive state, and they're more willing to do what we want. And it just goes in a circle over and over again. So how do we do it? With infants and toddlers, your very best time to do this is bathroom time. Bathroom time and diaper changing time, it happens over and over again. So in group care or at home, these are great opportunities to do connection rituals with your tiniest kids. If you want more connecting rituals, you can Google I love you rituals, conscious discipline, or head to their website and they'll give you a bunch of different ones. With older kids, now, see, my Google was trying to give us the answer. So for older kids, 3 to 7, I would say even older. Some of them it's a little too silly for. Maybe they don't want to do it in front of someone, but they might like it at home. You can still do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Definitely for your preschool age kids, they will take Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and those connection and I love you rituals. But hand clap games are great. There has to be presence for you to pay attention. There's touch. It's playful. There's eye contact. And even the high five. Give me 5, up high, down low, too slow. That is silly. There is touch. There is presence. It takes 4 seconds. As long as you're making eye contact, you've got it. It's a connection ritual. And if you're in group care, taking kids to the bathroom is the perfect opportunity to do these with them. If you're taking 3, 4 kids at a time while they're waiting for a bathroom, you do connection rituals. When they're done with the bathroom and waiting to go back to the classroom, offer these rituals. And then with older kids, you can do those hand clap games, have them make up secret handshakes, do exercises together, dance and play and have fun. The TikTok videos that you see families and groups doing together, those are connection rituals. Just make sure that you add the eye contact in there, and then they have every other ingredient, right? Presence, playfulness, and touch. So we use connection all day long to stay higher up in our brain, right in those prefrontal lobes. We use it to come back together after conflict because that's hard. It's hard for all of us to move on after someone has acted in a way we don't want them to. This is a lesson in moving on for them and for us. We use it to strengthen relationships and create willingness. We use it to come together before a request, right? So if you've got a kiddo that has a hard time cleaning up, go to them before you ask them to clean up. take a moment, do a connection ritual, make some eye contact, and then say, it's time to clean up. Would you like to do it by yourself, or would you like me to help? You give them what they're missing. If they're missing connection, then we give it to them. And then we teach them how to connect with others. You connect with a child, teach the children to connect with each other. And then if they're doing it all day and you're doing it all day, they're getting double the dose of that connection ritual. So that's it. Take these moments, pick out an I love you ritual that you are willing to try with the children that you care for or the children in your home. Just pick one, and then pick a couple times a day that you're going to practice it, and watch how good it feels when you finish that ritual with that kid and how willing they are to move on and do what you want. And please tuck this behind your ear too, because this is going to happen. There are going to be children who resist the connection rituals, who resist the eye contact, who don't want the touch, who don't like to be tickled. It's always important to have a child's consent before you touch them in any way, right? We all know that consent is so important. So we don't tickle and twinkle on kids who don't want us to touch them, but that doesn't mean we stop. The children who need the connection the most are the ones who are going to resist it. It's the same thing with grown-ups. If we have a grown-up around us who's very resistant to these connection rituals and resistant to doing them and practicing with the kids, they are probably uncomfortable with the connection because they need it, right? So we don't give up. We try different rituals until we find something that works. We try doing them hands off. We don't stop offering the love and connection. We just got to find the right way. Until next time, I wish you well.